Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome to Call of War. This is a real-time strategy game that can be played both in your browser and on your mobile, and basically what it is it allows you to take command of a nation in the Second World War and bring it to glory, not only through your military power but diplomacy as well as technology, resource gathering, trading on the market, and espionage. It has some really cool mechanics which we're going to run through in this video, but I want to go ahead and give the developers a massive shout out for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it, and stuff like this helps the channel kind of do giveaways and other stuff in the future, and it obviously keeps the channel going, so massive thank you to the developers. So as I said, this is a real-time strategy game that is set in World War II. However, it doesn't follow the events of World War II. It pits you at the beginning, and basically you can be a peaceful Germany, you can be an ultra-aggressive Germany, you can be a warmongering Great Britain or France. It allows you to basically write your own path with your faction. This is also obviously multiplayer, and it can have up to 100 people per game in the in a game taking command of every single country, and as well as that, every country can be split up into provinces. So in the 100-man game that they've been kind enough to give us, again, if you use my link down below in the description, you can go ahead and secure your place alongside me in this massive World War II battle royale, and it's gonna be absolutely crazy. So make sure you use my link in the description, sign up and pick your country and get yourself ready for these engagements, as these games do last over several weeks, and the fact that we're gonna have 100 people all trying to win, it's going to be absolutely crazy. So as I said, use the link down below in the description, sign up, pick your faction, and get ready for the start of our massive game. But before I go ahead and dive in and show you guys exactly how to play, I'll show you exactly how to join my game, as it will fill up fairly quickly, so I want everyone to have an equal opportunity to join. So what you're going to want to do after using the link in the description to sign up, you want to go over to the game section up here, and then go over to the new game section there. Then obviously you want to type in the ID number, which again, this will be in the description down below, along with the password you'll need to join the game, and you'll put in this code right here. Click search, my game will hopefully come up, and then you'll be able to click the join button right there. As you can see, only 100 people, so do join fast. You're gonna have to enter the password, which is JackieFish17, but you can just copy and paste it from the description right in there like so, and then that should obviously jump you immediately into the game, and then you'll be able to pick your country. I'll just do mine right now, so you can see all the different countries that you can pick from, how like kind of, you know, messed up China and Russia and America and South America and Africa. You know, there's lots and lots of countries to pick from and play from, which is going to make for just, I can't wait to see just some of the craziest stuff happening. Maybe like an entire Indian revolution in just around this entire area. It's going to be exciting. But I'm going to be playing as the UK, so I'm going to go ahead and select my country right there, so I'll be able to pick the UK, and then I will go down to it wherever she is, and there you go. I will pick my country, and I'll basically be ready to go. So the game will start when we have 100 people joined, and then the game will begin. So do get ready. It's going to be very exciting. You can go ahead and do some searching, do some surveying. I'm not sure if you can do any diplomacy at the beginning, but whilst you're waiting. But yeah, make sure you jump in. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And there you go, just kind of a quick overview of the battle map right there. So it's going to be crazy. And yeah, let's just dive right into how exactly you do play the game. The game I'm currently playing is like a tutorial with other people though, so there are still several players in this game, but it's more of a tutorial to kind of get you accustomed to how the game works, and that's basically what I'm going to be doing in this video, is showing you guys how to kind of play, so that when we do start our 100-man game, you guys won't be completely unprepared, and you'll be ready to either ally with me, attack me, or maybe just, you know, be nowhere near me, as the map will be the entire world. And one of the cool things that the game does is it does split up a lot of the larger countries. So for example, this is a really good example right here. Russia is split into several different provinces, and this will be the same all across the world on our grand scale map, as our map will be the entire world when we play on our servers. So do just keep that in mind. So how do you play this game? Well, we'll start off kind of running through some of the interesting stuff at the top, and then we'll look, because you guys have actually joined me in my grand invasion of Finland And as I say, the war is going pretty well against the Finnish right now. You know, I definitely have done some good expansion. I'll show you guys a bit more about that in a second. But first things first is the resources. Resources are your bread and butter in this game. You need to build up, you know, your infrastructure and your resource capacity, because this allows you to do your research, this allows you to build troops, this allows you to expand your kingdom very, very efficiently. And that's why it'll be really interesting in the game, because you'll be picking where you invade next, probably down to your resources. The game also has a fully working market, which you can bid and buy stuff on from other players, and they can set prices. So, you know, if you go ahead and secure all the oil, you can sell that at a premium to every other player in the game. And when there's hundreds or 100 other people, you can see kind of how things can kind of get pretty crazy, and trade embargoes and other stuff can form. But we'll start with the resources up the top. So you have food, you have goods, you have manpower, metal, oil, rare materials, and that hard cash right here. You use a lot of these resources throughout the expansion of your kingdom and to build more troops. So for example, down here, you can see that all units are worth a certain amount. And obviously, you know, militia and infantry are going to be worth more, you know, food, goods, and manpower. Whereas tanks, and the heavier tanks especially, are going to cost you more metal than manpower and goods, and obviously a lot of oil. And this stuff is going to tick up over time. So when you do have, like, you know, a massive infantry army, you're going to be kind of running low on manpower. And you can start to run deficits as well if you start just to overproduce that. So how do you go ahead and gain goods? Well, you gain goods from these resource nodes on the map, and as you can see, they are scattered throughout the world. Some regions are rich in food and rare materials, other are rich in oil. So again, it kind of really, you know, you have to think about where you're going to expand, who you're going to make friends with, who you're going to attack, which I really like about the game. You can go ahead and expand these resources through building. So as you can see we're making currently 4,000 goods from this settlement every single day, I believe, or maybe it's every single hour. I'm actually not too sure. I think it's actually per day right here. Yeah. So every single day we make these resources just from this region right here. And if, for example, I wanted to go ahead and upgrade that, what I could do is I could build an industrial complex. That'll go ahead and give me some nice upgrades, an extra 10% to our resource production every single day, which is actually really nice. You can build fortifications, barracks, infrastructure, air bases, naval bases, and a whole ton of other stuff as well. So you actually have to really think about where you want to build. And obviously every single building in the game does take time. Some are a lot quicker than others, some are a lot slower than others. So you really have to think about what you need to spend your resources on at the right time. Because for example, probably in the early game, it's not going to be a smart idea just to build as many barracks everywhere as you can, because you can't sustain that many units, and your resources would probably be better spent building industry and infrastructure at the beginning, you know, in the first couple days of the battle or of the game itself. Because I imagine at the beginning there'll be a land rush for certain resources, but you know, after that's kind of settled down, you're going to need to want to have that infrastructure and then resources to improve the production of your kingdom. So that's basically how resources work in the game, and how the buildings work as well. Some regions obviously are better suited to industrial complexes and infrastructure, because you want to go ahead and unlock more of these resources, and you're going to need some of this stuff, you know, like airports to build planes, and you need barracks to build infantry, and you know, you need a whole set of things to build certain certain mobile infantry and other stuff like that. The next thing I want to go ahead and talk about, I guess I can also show off the market as well, which I kind of touched on a little bit a second ago, but there is also a fully functioning stock market in the game, where you can put up, you can sell your resources for prices, and you can set your price. Obviously, if you set it too high though, it won't really show up in the list, so it's good to kind of stick around the price of everyone else. But if you have all the food or you have all the oil, then you can set the prices and really drive it up, because no one else will be able to sell theirs, as they'll need it for their own kingdom. So you can go ahead and sell these resources, and it's really cool because all of this is other players who are selling their resources. You can see there's a big little price right here of someone trying to buy all this oil, and you can make, like, I'll sell my oil. I've actually got 22,000 oil. Sure, I'll sell my oil right there. There's a nice premium of 10 gold or 10 money, and we can use this money to then spend on other stuff throughout our kingdom. We need that to build troops, we need to pay our troops, we need to build buildings. So yeah, you know, it's really cool. You know, if you just need oil right now and you have a lot of cash, you can just quickly dump your cash and try and get them resources in. So I really like the idea about the stock market. I think it's quite cool. I also just like the look of my Swedish empire. We've already killed Denmark and we're moving on, but we'll get onto the military stuff in a second. Next, you have the newspaper, and the newspaper is pretty important because it shows you where the factions are on the map. It shows you who's conquering what territory, and it kind of gives you a good idea of, who's who's like making moves, who's making alliances, what people are building, around the world. So again, this is a great thing because it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on around the world, but you don't obviously have all the information that is everywhere. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and just infer what people are doing. You also have diplomacy. Diplomacy is actually pretty decent in the game. You have these trade alliances. You have messages that you can send between people right here. You have alliances and coalitions you can form. So, for example, France is currently in the Central Powers. I'm not sure if they're actually with anyone in this game, but France is in the Central Powers. You can obviously declare war on people. You can trade embargo so they can't get any goods from the stock market from your country. So, for example, if you have this big coalition of like 10 countries all with oil, and you suddenly trade embargo Britain, and no longer they can get oil to fuel their ships, you can actually economically strangle nations, which is just dope. I love the idea of that. Obviously, peace, right of way, which is obviously military access. You can also share your map with your allies and also share intelligence. And intelligence is very, very exciting because espionage does some crazy stuff in the game. You can see right now I currently have spies set up throughout the kingdom in Finland, obviously, supporting our advance, and I also have them on counter-espionage so that the Finnish can't spy on me and see where my troop movements are. Right now, I've gone ahead and got military sabotage going on, so I'm trying to disrupt, battle lines. I'm trying to destroy military buildings in the Finnish land, but not only that, it also gives me a good idea of where the enemy units are. Because the Finnish aren't using counterintelligence, I can see where a handful of their units are back here. I can't see exactly what they are down there. Like, I don't know what's in this kind of army group, but I know it's down there, so it can give me a great kind of advantage at planning my forces. However, you can just counter espionage and try and counter that kind of force coming in, and this can be pretty costly because it does cost you money every single day. It's currently costing me 12 grand a day, right, for these spies. So I could be instead just buying resources and improving the nation, or I could be using this counter espionage and other stuff to try and help me in my war. But not only that, you can also do, I think it's intelligence, and this intelligence thing right here is amazing because this allows you, if you kind of succeed and you have more than enough spies to make this happen, you can actually see other people's private messages to other nations. How cool is that? You can actually use your spies to find out what people are talking about to their allies, and you can see if they're planning a massive offensive. Like, that's just really, really cool, and I kind of feel like that's like great. You're like breaking the Enigma code by deciphering their private messages. Now, their private messages could just be awful, or they could be really useful. That's, I guess, the risk you take, but that's like a really cool thing I definitely wanted to mention. You can also see as well, I'm destroying infrastructure as well in this region, so it'll make it a lot harder for them to move forces to the north or to the south. So again, strategic play right there. Something I should mention next as well, I guess, before we go on to research, is the way units move around. This is a real-time strategy game, so if I do want to move units to the front from my safe lines of my capital and stuff like that, it takes time. This unit has been moving to the north for about 3 or 4 hours now, so you can really plan these offensives to go off, and you can prepare them, and you can set your battle lines up. You can see enemy attacks coming. It will take time, but obviously it will take time to react to it. So I really like the real-time aspect of the game as well, because it really prepares you and, makes you constantly, kind of look around and think about, oh, what's the enemy maneuvering around? What should I move up? But it's also nice that it's real-time as well, because it means you don't have to constantly play the game. You can sit back, have some fun, and, just turn it off for a day or two and come back to it, and all your armies and all your troops and all your buildings would have done what they needed to do, got into position, would have built and, progressed on to the next thing. So, yeah, I really like the real-time aspect of the game because, it's all revolved about time, but it's not like you have to constantly be playing the game. You'll just jump on for 10 minutes, do your stuff, and then jump off for the day. It's like a really nice kind of balance, and that's one of the great things about real time. And it just provides some really, really fun stuff, because you could set up an entire, offensive down a grand battle line with your allies, and you could be like, and you could be like, at 12 p.m. on Thursday the 16th, we're going to begin the battle. And you can set that up. You can set delays on your infantry when they're moving. So for example, I can delay my infantry so they'll arrive at a certain time to an enemy province. And you can set up this grand assault with your allies and really coordinate. So that's one of the things which is really cool. And with the coalitions and stuff, it's going to be really crazy to see how the battle does turn out. Research is obviously a thing in the game and a pretty large part of the game. Every single day you can unlock research and continue to progress. As currently I'm researching destroyers at level 3 to make my navy a little bit better, because I don't have the greatest navy, but with the conquering of Finland, we'll get lots more resources to go ahead and pump into this navy. A few more naval yards as well through Helsinki and Turku as well. So they're gonna really try to pump out some more ships so I can really challenge in the open seas. I think I've even got a battleship on the go as well. Or maybe my battleship's actually built as well. No, still another destroyer squadron right there, but that's absolutely fine. So yeah, technology is a big thing, and the cool thing about technology is that you can't just like rush tier 7 infantry right off the bat. These are locked between the days that the game goes on for, so no one's gonna have like the best infantry or the best tanks at the first day. It's gonna take time to unlock this and give everyone a chance to focus down the stuff they want to, and then maybe get some of the stuff if they have nothing else to research. But again, remember that this stuff is costly. Some of the high tier tanks which I haven't upgraded, we're only on like day 7 right now, so I think all this stuff levels up soon. But if I wanted to go ahead and get tank destroyers, that's a lot of rare materials and food and cash that I maybe want to be spending on improving my infrastructure and other stuff. So there's a real big trade-off of thinking you can't, I guess you could just get everything, but the resources would be better spent elsewhere. So it's a good idea to maybe try and focus a few things. Maybe just get infantry, artillery, and maybe like, tanks tier 2 or something. Again, it really depends on what resources you have access to, because you don't want to be building heavy tanks if you're not really going to be able to field them. It's better just to be spamming out, maybe medium or light tanks, which is really, really cool. So that is going to be the research. Obviously the coalitions as well. There is only the central powers in my tutorial game. I think everyone's just having a full out battle royale. And then you also have your reports as well. This is going to go ahead and tell you basically what's going on around the world with your kingdom, where you've been attacked, what you've produced. And this is really nice to go ahead. You see a building's been built, you're like, oh cool, an industrial complex has been built down in Stockholm. That's great. Now I need to go ahead and build something else. Or my infantry's been built. You can also queue stuff up as well. So for example, if I just wanted to pump out more fighters, I could just queue them up. So if I'm going to be away for a day or 2 or maybe even 3, I can still queue up production and other stuff, and the units will do that. You can also set rally points as well around the map as well. So when you do build stuff, you can actually set a rally point for them to go to. So again, you can do a lot of this like moving around in a real-time aspect, and you can just kind of put your phone down or turn off your browser and go on from there. So that's basically the overall of the game, and it's going to be very exciting to see how the world does change, because as I said at the beginning of the video, you don't have to be a warmongering Germany. You could be like the peacekeepers of Europe. You don't have to be, a kind of more defensive France. You could be really aggressive and just try and invade everything and get as many resources. But again, you might cause yourself to not have many friends. So a diplomacy game is going to be huge, especially with 100 people. The map's going to be the entire world, so we're going to have everything. You're going to have Japan, China, you're going to have United States split into like 20 different countries, you're going to have Africa, you're going to have the entire world, and everything's going to be split into countries and provinces. So again, there's going to be multiple people in Spain, multiple people in France, multiple people everywhere around the world, and yeah, it's going to be very, very crazy to see who can come out on top. So make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description. Make sure to maybe play a little bit as well beforehand, play a bit of a tutorial, get to grips of how the game really works, and get ready, because war is coming. And I hope to see some of you guys with me in a coalition with me, and some of you guys against me trying to bring me down. So yeah, once again, use the link in the description. Massive shout out to the developers for sponsoring this video, and there'll be plenty more to come. The other 2 videos that I'll have on this will be update videos as well, so if you do really good in the game, you'll see that in the next video. So yeah, make sure to stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.